Okay, so listen, if you happen to play my picks from last week, week 5, congratulations, you came out a winner. And if you didn't, it's probably because you're not subscribed to either the podcast or the YouTube. But just relax. You do have the opportunity to do so right now. So go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like, comment, do all of those things that the algorithms like for you to do. Also, I'm on TikTok now. I'm trying, guys. We'll see how this goes, but you can find me over on TikTok as well. I do not even have the username for that. I believe it's @Run'em Daily Sports. But yes, like I said, if you follow week 5, you were a winner. Before we get into week 6 picks, I do want to say that I've got 2 episodes coming up this week, focusing on the NBA. We're going to do 2 separate episodes, one for the Eastern Conference, one for the Western Conference. We're going to do projections, things that change with teams, just kind of outlooks on what we expect to happen this season. I will say that the NBA is my bread and butter. If you've been around the podcast for any amount of time, you do know that. I just kind of, what do they call that? Moonlight? Yeah, I just moonlight with the NFL. And it turns out I've been pretty good at that too. So again, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, like, leave a comment. I do appreciate that. Also, if you're listening on my traditional podcasting outlets, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead, leave a 5-star rating, leave a review. Let these tech companies know that this is the type of content that you like to consume on a Sunday morning when you're looking to have a clean sweep because we've been off for like 3 weeks by just one. And I think it's time. Week 6. Let's go. So now that stuff's out of the way, I do want to say real quick, I don't do big recaps on my NFL weeks just because I don't sit here and pretend to be this super duper NFL nerd that's just like or an aficionado or something like that. I'm really good at reading charts, picking up on trends, and just gathering relevant supporting data. That's kind of my thing. I do love the NFL. I do watch a ton of NFL football games, but I would say I know like more than the average person. I did play football as well, but like I know more than the average person, but I wouldn't call myself an expert. And the only reason I say that is because where I feel most comfortable is the NBA, which is coming up. So you will see a slight shift in the podcast and the content there. It will take probably a little more in-depth view of things just because that's like my passion league there. I love talking basketball. I love watching basketball. I watch random basketball games on, Wednesday nights when no one should be watching this game between Charlotte and Washington. I'm watching that game. I've found some great bets to make during that game. So yeah, I just wanted to keep it real with you guys about that. Again, I do love the NFL, but I don't love it to the level that I love the NBA. I can't just watch a random NFL game. Like I kind of need to be somewhat invested in this game. And the same happens when it comes to how I bet on them, right? If it's a game that I wouldn't be interested in watching, I'm probably not going to have player props from that game just because if I'm not interested in watching it, it's probably 2 really bad teams. And although we can usually find some value props there, yeah, man, it's just one of those things that it's like, who are we kidding? I'm not going to watch this game. I don't even want to have to watch it to sweat my bets out. So I just try to leave that shit alone, honestly. This week 6, I'll be honest. I came into this week and I was thinking to myself, I don't really love a lot of the matchups. I mean, we've got Detroit and Kansas City in the nightcap, but the early games at first, I was like, okay, we got some stuff that we can use to get through it. We've got some of the regulars that we can continue to use to make money off of, but I didn't know if I was really excited about any of the games. As I started to dig into the data, though, I gotta say, I think I put together a really, really good card for week 6. And I don't get on here and like boast and say that often just because it's still gambling. Like we could still go 0 for 5 or 0 for 6, but like this week's picks feel really, really good. And I do always try to give you my best when it comes to this, but just you guys know what I mean. Sometimes it just feels like you're in that zone. There is a segment that I do with the NBA, and I call it Statistically Speaking. And I think starting now in week 6, and just to get used to that mode of me getting back into NBA mode, I'm going to do that. And what that is like one play that I feel the most strong about. And also it makes the most statistical data sense. You know what I mean? Again, I'll say this is gambling. So just understand that. I think anybody that listens to this podcast or watch this show, you're kind of beyond the beginner stages of gambling, and you do understand that. I do appreciate you guys as well. If you are new to this sports betting, there's a lot of great videos out there, a lot of great podcasts out there that are teaching you unit sizes and things like that. And should you parlay? Should you not parlay? Should you same game parlay? Should you do player props over like totals and spreads and money lines? Just YouTube that stuff. Go and get as educated as you can. Just because I don't want you, don't pay money to someone to just blindly follow their picks and you still don't quite understand what you're doing. I want everyone to understand what you're doing so you can make your own informed decisions and also just have as much fun with this as I do. But we got to still remember to do it responsibly. I've talked about responsibility shit too much. Let me get into it. So this is the first week we're going to do this. We're going to start this thing off with statistically speaking. And statistically speaking, my favorite week 6 play for tomorrow is Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is back for the Colts. He's been out with the concussion. He did clear concussion protocol. He practiced all week. Alec Pierce is one of Daniel Jones's favorite targets. He didn't really miss him while he was out just because, the Colts ran into the Raiders and they had no shot. Also, just really quickly, prior to the season starting, I made a comment on here basically saying that I thought that the Colts' skill positions were some of the best in the league, low key. Like I ran through the list and I was like, hey, they got some dudes. And somebody thought I was actually trolling. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, the talent is there. They just need a quarterback that can unlock it. Now, I will say I didn't think Daniel Jones was him, but glad to be proved wrong thus far with that. I do know that the Colts are eventually going to like regress to the mean a little bit. Like this is, I don't think they're a 12, 13 win team. Prior to the season starting, I think I had them at 8 wins, which, I just thought the quarterback, I didn't know what was going to happen. Seeing what I see now going into week 6, I still only have them maybe at 12 wins, maybe 13. And I know 13 that's a lot of wins, but I think there's going to be some regression. And then I want to see how they bounce back after the regression. Like, does Daniel Jones turn back into the old Daniel Jones? What are we going to see? But based off the data and like what we have now tells us that Daniel Jones is spreading the ball around, and this offense is really clicking. Everybody, if you just watch the Colts as well, Daniel Jones is doing a lot more reading of the defense than I think he ever did in New York. And I hesitated there just because part of it was he was like running for his life a lot. And while he has a little bit better protection with the Colts and the system Shane Steichen's put in has him making quick decisions and getting rid of the ball quickly has helped. I do think that he has matured and his progressions have gotten a little bit better. Alec Pierce has blown through this 30.5 every game that he's played this season. Again, he was out with the concussion. I don't expect anything different. He is like a Swiss Army knife for the Colts. he can be the Wes Welker type of receiver where he's getting, 8 to 10 here and there, catching the slant route, or he can just take off deep, and they've literally used him both ways. I think that's kind of the comfort that Daniel Jones has with him. Michael Pittman's seen a couple of double teams this year, so it's kind of took the heat off of him. But like when you've got Josh Downs, you got Pittman, it kind of leaves it's always going to leave Alec Pierce in an advantageous situation, I believe. So I believe he's actually like a 2 receiver on any other team, but he's pushed into the 3. And if AD Mitchell's mind is right, maybe even the 4th best on that team. So it's going to give him matchups that he can win all the time. I think he gets that done. So statistically speaking, I think Alec Pierce is the way to go tomorrow. Alec Pierce over 30.5 yards. I got it on FanDuel at -114. That's pretty much where it's at all across the board. I will say that. DraftKings has it at -110, but the line hasn't changed. All the major sports books still have it at 30.5. I'll just run off the last 3 games for him, 67, 68, and 36. So I think we're good there. Statistically speaking, that's the one you're going to want to take. Let's move right along just because I don't want to keep you guys any more than 20 or 30 minutes. Second play I'm going with, man, is Breece Hall. I like Breece Hall catching the ball pretty much any chance he gets. He can take a short pass and turn it into a long gain. We all know about the athletic ability of Breece Hall. Had 42 last week against Dallas. Again, I feel like he's another one of those guys that gets used as like a utility knife, a Swiss Army knife. Like this guy can do so much. We know he's dangerous in the backfield. When it comes to Justin Fields is at his best when he can make short throws and he has weapons that can do something after the catch with that. That's what Breece Hall is. They run some RPO stuff too that really gets the two of them active and moving and on the move. I look for Breece Hall to have a really, really good game tomorrow. The line is 27.5. I got that at -114 as well. By the way, at DraftKings, it's -109 right now, so you can get that there. This is at the time of recording this. I don't know what the line might be. Again, all across the board, the line's been the same. It's been about 27.5. Fanatics, I think you can get 25.5, but who's using Fanatics, bro? Like, yikes. Anyways, moving on. That's a personal story for another day. Yeah. I'm intrigued by this Baltimore game, and I know that sounds crazy because why would you be intrigued by the Baltimore game? And the reason I am is because I think we can really find I think I found a really good value play. And this one's a little risky. The same way that like my Aaron Rodgers rushing yards a couple weeks ago was risky. This one's risky as well. I took DeAndre Hopkins over 11.5 receiving yards. And here's why. Zay Flowers technically is still questionable. Do I think he'll play? Probably. But again, questionable. If I look at D-Hop's last week, he had 46 yards, 2 targets. At 11.5 yards, I feel like even with the low amount of targets, even if Zay Flowers plays, I just feel like we're one completion away from hitting that. I like situations like that. It's not dependent upon who's the quarterback. It's not dependent upon a whole bunch of receptions to do it. You're going to give me, actually, I got it at 10.5. It's currently at 11.5. You're going to give me that on a day that you also tell me that Zay Flowers is questionable. I'm going to take it. Again, it could be a risk. He could get no targets for no catches, and you know what I'm saying? But I feel like this is a sneaky spot right here for DeAndre Hopkins, and I really like that. I thought about doing a ladder play there. I didn't ultimately. I still do have time and I may, but we'll just stick to where we're at for now. Let's move on. I'm going to get through these kind of quickly if I can. Excuse me. Geno Smith is playing against my favorite quarterback, Cam Akers. I really like Cam Akers. I hope the Titans don't beat him into submission and have him just ready to, hang it up, because I think he's really one of them ones, like, for real. And I hope that he can get some talent around him. I hope he can turn it around a little bit, have some success. We're seeing improvements every week, by the way, but this is not a Cam Ward play. So I'm taking Geno Smith passing yards over 225.5. Geno's like a roller coaster sometimes. I think he's up more than he's down. I will say that, but it's still a roller coaster. Geno Smith last week against the Colts, literally they were getting just the doors blown off of them. Still finished with 228 yards, still threw the ball 36 times. Geno has thrown the ball, I don't know, over 40 times this year, almost twice now. So he's right there with another one. I think we're going to get enough that Geno's going to want to bounce back from the performance that he had last week. Again, it wasn't the worst performance he's ever had, but throwing the picks, a couple of them one of them definitely wasn't his fault. But anyways, I think Geno comes back, has a great bounce back game. If you can't get it done against the Titans, you can't get it done. So, Geno, we need you to get it done, my dude. Like, we really do. Another play that I have that you probably won't ever hear again from me, but I don't know. I took it. So I got Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown at -180. Here's what I'm going to do with that, though. I have a couple of different profit boosts on FanDuel. I think I have a 50% and a 30%. I'll probably use the 30% profit boost on that just to bring it back to respectable odds. I'm not a big touchdown guy. I don't really do a lot of anytime touchdowns. I damn sure don't do first touchdowns. But they say that Mac Jones is questionable. I don't know how true that is. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows whether he's actually going to play or not. If I had to give my suspicion, I would say yes. It's going to be a tough matchup against Tampa Bay. They're going to need every ounce of Christian McCaffrey that they can get. I'm banking on that. I think a touchdown was my favorite play just because I believe his rushing or his receiving line was something like, I think it was like 56.5 or maybe 51.5. That's well doable. Like he does that. It's a little high for me with a questionable quarterback. The rush yards against it's just a little much. I think the anytime touchdown was probably our best play there. I did take that. Again, you probably won't hear any more anytime touchdown plays from me just because that's not my thing and it gets super risky. And every time I've ever fucking done that, it's been with Saquon Barkley and I got tush pushed. So I chose to leave those alone a while ago. Let's move on to Kansas City, man. Nighttime game. Kansas City, Detroit. I don't know which Kansas City team's going to show up. I don't think anyone does. The only person that I do kind of have faith in showing up is Patrick Mahomes. And saying that, I was this close to taking Patrick Mahomes rushing yards over 26.5. I just fear that against this Detroit defense, he's going to be looking to get the ball out quickly. I don't know. He's probably going to be on the run. I'm going to be honest, I'm probably still going to take that shit tomorrow, but that's not the play that I want to give here on the podcast. The play that I want to give here on the podcast is Tyquan Thornton. Yes, Tyquan Thornton over 23.5 receiving yards. In Jacksonville, he had 90. Now, I do know that like chunk plays go a long way, but I believe that they found something here. He's hit this line in his last 5 games. He's hit this line 80% of the time. He did receive 5 targets last game. I just believe that Xavier Worthy is questionable, but I'm pretty sure he's on the field tomorrow. He was on the field. I'm sure he's good to go. I just don't know what type of coverage they're going to throw at him. I also was like, I looked really deep into Travis Kelce as well. It's the Chiefs make me a little nervous going with the higher lines just because you just never know which Chiefs team is going to show up anymore. And it's crazy that we're saying that. Like, a year ago, we're talking about the Chiefs as a dynasty. This year, I'm like, who's going to show up besides Patrick? And Patrick Mahomes damn near leading your team in rushing every game is crazy. So that tells me that this offense kind of has some troubles. But if anybody can turn it around, the Chiefs can. I just don't like to go with like Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, stuff like that for 80 yards, 50 yards, 50, 60 yards, something like that, when I don't know, A, how they're going to show up, or B, what Detroit's going to do to them. I like to find value in like maybe a third receiver, fourth receiver, someone you bring in like that also has the data to support going that direction. That's just my thing. Kind of take the same approach when it comes to the NBA. Like you'll see, we find value players over here and we literally eat off of them all season long. All right, so listen, let's do a quick rundown here so I can get you guys out of here. Week 6 picks go something like this. Alec Pierce over 30.5 receiving yards. Listen, I once knew a girl from Arizona and she was a little bit on the chubbier side, but we like those. And just super soft, like buttery soft. I can't really explain it, but she's not as soft as the secondary for the Cardinals. Indiana Jones, my boy, it's time to eat. Alec Pierce, come on, get us taken care of in one play. Moving right along, because, you know, I ain't trying to be weird. We got Breece Hall over 27.5 receiving yards. DeAndre Hopkins over 10.5 receiving yards. Also got Geno Smith over 222.5 passing yards. Come on, Geno. We need you. Don't fucking embarrass me out here, okay? Tyquan Thornton over 23.5 receiving yards. Which version of the Chiefs are going to show up? I don't know or really care, as long as Tyquan comes through for us. And then I got Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown. I am using a profit boost on that. I think the actual line is minus 180. I've got like a 30% or a 50% profit boost over at FanDuel. I will be using that just to make it respectable. Let's run them daily. I appreciate you guys staying with me through my rambling this week. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you might be listening, just know that I appreciate it, and you don't have to do nothing if you don't want to. But I am on TikTok now. Just FYI. Peace.